a couple of years ago out of our apartment in Oakville, and luckily for us it has grown to the point where I was able to leave full-time employment into the brave new world of being an entrepreneur and going it alone. And as part of that, one day about last February, I woke up and said, we need to be on Dragons Den. And so that's the reason we're here tonight, is to sort of give you the lowdown on the trials and tribulations of appearing on the show Dragons Den. You know, they can be brutal, those guys on Dragons Den, and not always justifiably so. Sometimes, you know, you see a lot of weirdos, quacks on Dragons Den, and sometimes you can say, okay, well that guy deserved it. But then sometimes you think, well, you know, maybe they didn't, you know, need to tell. Maybe they didn't need to tell him to burst into flames, and you know, we were quite nervous, obviously, but it was a bit of a breeze. And in fact, they said, "Where have you guys been, and why didn't you come here sooner?" So let's show them what. This is the result of just going to the auditions for Dragons Den, because it really, you know, people love the Dragons Den, and the media love colorful costumes and crazy things like this. So we actually made the front page of the Burlington Post in this photo here at the top, and in the Oakville Beaver, and you've seen our presentation today. You can start watching the Dragons Den in a different mindset, because the typical pitch on Dragons Den is actually 30 to 45 minutes. 30 to 45 minutes for a pitch. And what do they edit it down to? 3 minutes at the most. So it may look like the Dragons have totally jumped in and not let the guy explain himself or whatever. You know, it might look like he has not done a good job at all. But in reality, he's probably spent 20 minutes explaining himself. And then maybe the Dragons have jumped in.
I've never felt the way that I did when we were standing at the top of those stairs, ready to go down into the Dragons Den. It's a very, very nerve-wracking feeling, especially when you're dressed in a pink bunny costume. You always run. I think that one of the interesting things that happened while we were doing our pitch, there was a little bit of confusion. Kevin O'Leary piped in and said, "Oh, I was in that movie." We're thinking, oh my God, he was really in this movie and we don't know about it. We're on Dragons Den right now. Like, talk about being unprepared. So he starts telling us, "Oh yeah, I was in this movie. It was shot in the Elora Gorge, 1975. Henry Winkler."
So, you know, that, who knows if that'll air too. I mean, it was very confusing. He said, yes, I was in that movie. And when I, you know, before anything else happened in my life, I just happened to be an extra on the set of this movie. It turns out, we found out afterwards, that he was in a different movie called An American Christmas Carol. It starred Henry Winkler, and it was shot in the Elora Gorge. There's a photo of him from some website where it's a photo of him dressed as a firefighter, but sort of a different costume than in A Christmas Story. It's all very confusing. And the caption was, Kevin O'Leary on the set of A Christmas Story. And so, I think for years, he had thought that he was in this movie and he really wasn't. And so I think that's why he wasn't really mean to us. I think the whole time he's sitting there thinking, he's going on. Sure. And he never said that, but he just really, you know, our pitch was probably on like day 14. We were the first pitch after their lunch. And I think that may have been one of the reasons why we didn't encounter as much dragon fire as we could have. I think they were still out to lunch. But this is the one great thing that happened almost immediately afterwards. I don't know if any of you use Twitter, but Kevin is a great Twitter guy. And he had his picture taken next to our leg lamp holding our moose mug. And he sent this tweet out to 22,000 of his followers saying, "I've always wanted a leg lamp," which can't be true because he didn't even know the movie. But he says, "I've always wanted a leg lamp, now I have one, dreams come true on the set of Dragons Den, what a shoot." So that was great. And that went out to 22,000 of his followers, and of course then we retweeted it to all of our followers. So, you know, this is gold, you know. This is gold, Jerry, gold. Like, just having this photo of Kevin O'Leary next to our leg lamp, our product, he actually bought it. I don't know if I mentioned that, but Kevin and Arlene both bought a full-size leg lamp after the show, and the producer, and then all of the production staff, all the crew were like, oh, we went to your website and we want you to bring us this, 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 and this. So we did great sales.
My goal was to stand there smiling the whole time. I thought, I'm not gonna stop smiling, because if I ever have a frown, they're gonna use that clip.
Yeah. That was another thing we decided, was that we can't have, you often see them cut away to people or like, you know, and who knows when that happened, but they can use, so I said, Jordy, just smile, 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 smile. And she did, and several times, maybe this will make it to air too, because it was sort of funny. The Dragons were like, wow, that is the smiliest bunny I've ever seen. That bunny just won't stop smiling. So, you know, it's really hard to say. I'll tell you one thing that's a good, for instance, is I guess I sort of assumed or thought that it would be like in a typical TV studio. You see the cameras and the camera guys in the background. If something goes wrong, there's a director there that yells, cut, let's start it again, or try that. And it wasn't like that at all. The cameras are all hidden, and you never see really anybody. The director introduces himself or herself to you beforehand and then disappears into some magical control room somewhere.
I think that's all I really have to say, is just that we were very starstruck. I know that when I handed Arlene her moose mug, I was shaking, because I was just, you know, these people are famous. Yeah, they're these billionaires, and we watch them on TV every week, and I can't believe we're here in the Dragons Den, and it looked, you know, exactly like it does on TV, and it was a very surreal feeling, and it was something that I'm really glad that we did, because I don't think we'll ever do anything like that again.
Let's answer some questions. Sir, yes.
What about the dynamics between the groups? You see how they get along, and was there some? We see a lot of infighting.
Yeah. Well, why don't you talk a little bit about Arlene?
Sure. Arlene runs the show. She's the boss. She's the boss. The way they communicated in the den was just a little different than what we saw on TV. And Tyler's absolutely right when he was saying that, you know, she thought, well, why choose Kevin? I want a leg lamp. But I did notice that the communication between all of them sort of, and it could just be where Arlene sits, because she is in the middle, but I did find that a lot of the conversation definitely went right through Arlene. Maybe it's because I love her so much.
You do that, and I'm going to draw some cards here real quick and see who won this one. Does anybody else have anything they want to throw in here? By the way, if you don't win in this stuff, it's all available online. Very reasonable prices. Bertram.